Mr. George.
Dr. Emilio Jorge.
You're early.
Can we get on with this?
Sure. Come on in, sit right over here. Want to live it? I think I'll do it. Okay, let's begin. When you called me, you told me that you were involved with a DARPA program called the Ares Project.
Yes, I was with the project from the beginning.
And you also told me that Ares could change humanity. Can you tell me more about the project?
The Ares program was an ambitious project. It explored the possibility of transporting objects over vast distances.
Well, it could make it very easy to deploy troops and weapons anywhere in the world.
True, but our intentions were much more ambitious.
How so?
Just imagine if we were able to colonize a new planet.
Like Mars?
Yes, and beyond, Mr. Hood.
I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Okay, give me some background about the project.
The project started 20 years ago. Dr. Harold Webb was experimenting with particles in space. So this involved two antenna arrays, a receiver, and a transmitter. Once Dr. Riley had successfully demonstrated the concept, this is where DARPA stepped in. DARPA then provided the funding. The project was able to advance to the next phase. This is how Ares was born.
Sounds like a cheap science fiction novel to me.
I assure you, Mr. Hood, this is not fiction.
Okay. Sorry. How far were you able to advance the Ares project?
We perfected it, Mr. Hood.
You were able to move solid mass.
Yes. And more.
Or?
Once we perfected moving solid mass, we moved on to simple organisms. And from there, the project accelerated.
People.
Yes, Mr. Hood. People.
Beat me up, Scotty.
Not without its casualties.
So there were problems.
When we moved to more complex organisms, yes, there were problems. Our engineers could not move past the solid mass equations.
How's that?
We could not get past the solid mass paradigm. We had to rethink our approach and rely on less elegant theories.
I don't understand. I mean, I barely passed sex ed in high school. That's because I had to hire a tutor.
You see, Mr. Hood, solid mass is an absolute. Each molecule identical to the other. Reassembled, a block of ice is still a block of ice, no matter how the molecules are arranged.
Okay, I get it. Let's move on to the people. You said there were casualties?
Once we moved past the complex organism issues, we moved on to the human trials. We were able to move flesh and bone with a great deal of accuracy and efficiency.
So there were no problems moving flesh and bone, as you put it.
Not at first.
So what was the problem?
There was an anomaly for each subject we transported, something our models could not explain. Our engineers assured us it was a computational error in our computer systems. We called it Error 21.
Error 21?
Every time we performed a transport of a human subject, the subject's weight would show 21 grams light. Given that this accounts for less than 3% of the total body weight of the average male, we treated it as an acceptable margin of error.
Okay. There were computational errors, but you still successfully transported objects and people. So the biggest question is, how far did this project go?
Once we accounted for the anomalies, we were able to move the program to the next phase. During the human trials, we had built an array and had it sent to Mars. By the time it arrived at Mars, we were ready to colonize.
Wait. Colonizing Mars? How come nobody heard of this? I mean, this could be a game changer. I think I need a drink. Let me ask you a question. Why did you select me for this interview? There are far better journalists out there than me. I can name at least 50.
I read an article you wrote about the man from Taurid. You did not concern yourself with the details. It was direct and to the point. Refreshing to read something that did not weight itself down in the details. I felt it was well written, Mr. Clayton.
I remember that article. Even my editor had a different opinion on it, too. Said it was the worst article ever.
The devil's in the details, Mr. Clayton. The devil's always in the details.
I'll drink to that. Colonizing Mars, huh? You would think a senator or some ambitious politician would have leaked this story to the press.
DARPA has never operated under the guidance of Congress, less the government. Think about it. If you had this technology and the ability to affect global power, you would bury it so deep in a hole that no one would see or hear about it. This is what we're good at, Mr. Clayton. Keeping secrets.
Well, you do have a point. Be like the mystery surrounding Area 51 on steroids. A fact or fiction. Okay, so to continue, how long have we been on Mars?
We started 5 years ago. There are now over 500,000 people on Mars, complete with research, manufacturing, and military complexes, up and running. A new society for the advancement of mankind.
Okay, I am really confused. If this was such a deep dark secret, why are you here? Why the interview? Why now?
Our goal is simple, Mr. Clayton. Build an advanced civilization on Mars for humanity, or what is left of humanity after we destroy this world, and even, as it were, a place where humanity can escape the sins of this world. And remember when I said there were casualties?
So something did go wrong on Mars.
3 months ago, we lost contact with the colony on Mars. It was as though someone threw a switch. Everything went dark.
So what do you think happened?
At this point, we had no clue. The program was running on schedule. The project was ready to advance to its final phase. We had feared the worst. He had sent a search and rescue team. We had not heard from them. We expected they were all dead.
The casualties?
No, not exactly. For the past 3 months, since Mars went dark, we conducted a review of the Ares project. We examined every failure, every anomaly, every success. We left no stone unturned. After careful examination, we found that we could account for error 21. It was not a computational error.
How can you account for such a small amount of things?
The soul, Mr. Clayton. The soul.
Okay, now you're just throwing my leg.
In 1907, a physician by the name of Duncan McDougall hypothesized that the soul had weight 21.3 grams to be exact. This is the only explanation that we had, Mr. Clayton.
That's a bit of a stretch, considering that no one's been able to quantify the soul.
It is the only plausible explanation that fit. The only one that put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Sorry. So what you are telling me is under the shadow of secrecy, you have been transporting people, weapons, and equipment to Mars with no souls? It's kind of a hard pill to swallow, Doc.
What I am telling you, Mr. Clayton, is that over 500,000 people with no moral compass have been living and working up there for 5 years. We created a time bomb, Mr. Clayton. We created a society with the capability of mass destruction.
So all those people, 5 million souls, the colony living on Mars, they were the casualties.
24 hours ago, we received a simple, direct message from the colony on Mars. Surrender or perish. You see, Mr. Clayton, it is humanity that is the casualty of the Ares project.